What's going on, people? Welcome back to the channel. Gooners Therapy. Dandagooner here. Now listen, we're going to focus on, are Arsenal in the title race this season? Not are we going to win it, are we in the Premier League title race? Are we going to be going for that Premier League? Now listen, you may be thinking, right, of course we are. Or you may be thinking, no way are we going to be in it. I don't know, right? Because yesterday I was quite shocked when I was on the football terrace on the Straight Facts podcast with Terry and one of his guests, Aaron, who's a fellow Arsenal fan, lovely guy. But look, we see things totally different. I'll just get to the gist of it. Basically, we were talking about, Liverpool being so strong. What does it mean for the rest of the Premier League? And look, I just said, whatever happens, if they sign Isak or not, Arsenal are going to be in this title race. And we'll move on to Isak a bit later on in this video. But look, I said it's going to be a three-way race between Arsenal, Manchester City and Liverpool. And he was like, no, I think it'll be a two-horse race. So there's me thinking that he's probably thinking it's going to be Arsenal, Liverpool, City. They're in a little bit of a transition period. We know how much they suffered last season. The defence is not the best. They've signed 3 players. They've not really kicked on since they signed them players before the Club World Cup in terms of the transfer window. But no, he said it'll be City and Liverpool, and Arsenal, will be lucky to be in the race, right? I just don't see it. I just don't see it that way. I mean, my evidence, my case for Arsenal that we will be in the title race is that we've been in the title race for the last 3 seasons, right? 84 points, 89 points. Okay, we didn't quite get up to that number of points this season, but we all know about the injuries. And you can say it's an excuse all you want, but listen, if you're an Arsenal fan, and I'm gathering 90% of the fans watching this are Arsenal fans, right? We all know what happened with the injuries. And by the way, I've just said 90% of Arsenal fans. It's reminded me, guys, please like and subscribe if you can. It would mean the world to us. We're trying to get to 200 before the season starts. I think we're on like 121. I don't think it's going to happen, but look, it would mean the world to us if it could happen. I know I got 7 new subscribers yesterday, probably after I did the show. So you guys, thank you so much. It means so much to us. But anyway, back into it. Arsenal in the title race. Like I said, we've been in it the last, you can even say 2.5 years, right? Because last year we fell away probably at the halfway stage, right? But we were 6 points behind going into like February, I think it was. We drew that game with Villa and it all sort of fell apart. But yeah, I mean, look, not last season, season before, we scored the most goals ever for an Arsenal team, more than Arsene Wenger's Invincibles. We got 1 point less than the Invincibles. And we won the most games and scored the most goals, like I said. So we did all that with Kai Havertz, who was up top for only the second half of the season. The first half of the season, he was in midfield. It's when we first signed him and Declan Rice. Declan Rice obviously giving us, the fans, that massive boost, which I think Hypocrites will do this season. Already, he's selling out the most shirts. I just think, some Arsenal fans, this is going to lead me to my next point, right? Is it me, or are some Arsenal fans just so negative and hypocrites when it comes to their own club? Give you an example. I do this show with my mate Dan. I call him Negative Dan. We're both Dan. He calls me Positive Dan. Anyway, check out the podcast. We've got about 4 or 5. As I said, we're a new channel. But yeah, if you watch it, you will see. I could just give you an example now. He'll be like, oh, I'm not sure about Zubamendi. I'm not sure, man. He could get eaten alive. This is the Premier League. But then next sentence, you'll be like, Liverpool, proper club, signing Verts, £100 million. This is what we need to be doing. I said, hold on a minute. Zubamendi's coming from La Liga, coming off winning the European Championships with Spain. Verts, all right, he's won the league the season before last with Leverkusen, and, his numbers are good and he looks a real top quality player. But why do you question whether Zubamendi will take time to adapt? But at the same time, you don't even question Verts. I don't know. Honestly, I feel like Arsenal fans, we're just straight away, the majority of us, so ready to be negative for no apparent reason, right? In that show yesterday, you will see, go and watch it, guys, if you can, because we have a good debate, right? And I'm sticking up for the fans that are like me, right? And even if you're not like me, you'll probably take Aaron's side and, it'll be a good watch. Anyway, he said Man City have had a great transfer window. And I thought, imagine a world now where Arsenal would just sign Reinders, Cherki and Nouri, right? Arsenal fans would be going mad. They'd be going ballistic. They went ballistic when we signed Madueke before Gyökeres. I just feel like, honestly, if another team's doing it, it's all right and it's good. But If Arsenal does it, it's never enough. Now I think we're having one of our best transfer windows in the club's history. You know, everyone keeps talking about Liverpool being so much stronger. I think Arsenal have got so much stronger as well. We've got one of the most feared strikers in Europe, which could easily add us 20 goals. You had 20 goals, I think we win the league. I really do think we win the league. You had 20 goals into the amount of goals we scored last season. I think we win the league. But yeah, I mean, look, Gyökeres, Norgard, and people like rubbing out Norgard. Norgard is a good signing. Over 200 Premier League games, Premier League captain. You need depth. You need depth, right, to win a league. Come on, guys. Like Manchester City, Manchester United over the years with their Parks and Scott Parker, you know, Darren Fletchers and Park Ji-sungs and all of these sort of players. They help you win Premier Leagues. Norgard could be that. Kepa is essentially, I said it on the show yesterday, he's a number one coming in as a number two. Madueke, everyone's crying that Arsenal, we need backup for Saka. We need a backup for Saka. We go and get one. Everyone's crying and moaning. I know 50 million is a bit much, but he is English. Like I wouldn't have, he's not a player I would have wanted to sign, but Martinelli's another player we all moan of. Can he give him some competition? Hopefully Eze or Rodrigo's going to come in that position, you know, but you need depth. You need depth. We need to be playing. Look, it's relentless. Games every 3 days. You know, Carabao Cup, FA Cup, Premier League, Champions League. These sort of games, injuries as well. I think Arsenal are scarred by the injuries because, you know, on the right now, look, I think Madueke is going to be primarily on the left. I think Trossard is going to go. I do see him going. I think Martinelli will stay, but I think you have Martinelli, Madueke, and hopefully an Eze or Rodrigo for the left, right? Then on the right, you'll have Saka and Wanyeri and Max Dowman, man, the next Kaka. Remember, you heard it here first. The boy is the next Kaka. That's the style of play he's got, and he could go on to be a Ballon d'Or winner, just like Kaka. But with him as well, guys, would you throw him in? You know, or would you? He's 15, man. It's a real tough one because I feel like he could come on and get goals, and he could end up be starting in this team somewhere. Do you know, I do think he'll get a lot of cameo appearance. I think they'll protect him. I think that's what will happen with him. But really exciting times with Max Dowman. But yeah. Moving on to the next subject, right? What I'm going to go with is if Liverpool get Isak, right? Is the Premier League over? Because you go on TalkSport, you go on all of these shows, right? Or, you know, anyone talking about football, any of these podcasts that we do, right? And they're all saying if Liverpool get Isak, it's all over. I think it's far from over if they get Isak. Like, look, right? They get Isak. Who knows if he's going to gel into that team? Who knows? He should do. He's a world-class player. He should do. But, you know, is he going to be able to play with Salah, him and Salah? You know, we saw with Salah and Mane previously what happened with them two. You know, I know they still won everything together and all of that, but there was a bit of conflict there. You know, Salah's a year older. And look, this is the thing. Liverpool, they've not just signed these players and lost no one. They've lost Trent. The man had a telepathic understanding with Salah, right? You know, so many assists. He was such a big part of Liverpool's games. I don't think people realise. Liverpool fans obviously do, but I don't think the average fan realises just how important Trent is to Liverpool's build-up play, to everything. He scores goals. He scores free kicks. His assist record is phenomenal, and just the balls over the top, the assist of the assist. Trent is going to be a massive miss for them. You can say what you want about him defensively. Is Frimpong a much better defender than Trent? I don't think so. So I would say that's already a downgrade. Now look, God rest his soul. They've, unfortunately, in the worst circumstances possible, they've lost Jar. But nonetheless, it's a big loss. You know, it's a loss of life, of course, and it's a tragedy. But they've also lost a great footballer. So that's there are two big players that they've lost. They've also lost Diaz now, who everyone's just making out, oh, it doesn't matter, it's Diaz. Well, yes, it does. He scored 16 goals. He is really tenacious. He starts off their press. He's a key player for Liverpool. He took over Mane's role seamlessly. Not quite as effective as Mane, but really does press and high up and wins the ball. And he's just got a tenacious spirit. He's a very good, solid player, and he's integral to the way Liverpool play. So, you know, it's not like they're just signing players and they're losing key players here, right? That's 3 key players that they've lost this season. So I don't think it's going to be, also, is it going to click? Is it going to gel? We've seen over the years when teams sign too many players and it just simply does not work. In Liverpool's situation, probably would be a bit different to that they are actually Premier League champions. They've got a good tactician in Slot, but even him, he did well last season. He didn't really have a challenge. He did for half of the season with Arsenal, but injuries and City, we all know what happened with City. That's probably not going to happen again. So I don't think it's going to be nowhere near as easy as it was for Liverpool last season, this season, regardless of who they sign, whether they have Isak, Verts, and I mean, even Kirk is obviously a good signing, but is he going to be starting every game? I still feel like Andy Robertson's going to be there for the experience, but it does make them stronger in that left back position. Of course it does. But overall, I think Arsenal have had a stellar window, and I think Liverpool have had a stellar window. I think City's free signings, two of them in particular, look to be top signings, and I'm sure they'll do more business. Can Arsenal do more business? Will we do more business? It looks like, guys, we're wrapping up Eze. Really, really excited about that. I think he can come in, give Odegaard the kick up the arse that he needs, and also we know he plays on that left. He started there in the FA Cup final. He's just a maverick sort of player, isn't he? Are you excited about Eze, guys? Let me know what you think. Would you rather Eze or Rodrigo if you had to choose? When I was on the Straight Facts podcast yesterday on the Football Terrace, Aaron said he'd rather Rodrigo because he's a specialist in that position. I don't know. He plays on the right for Real Madrid. I know initially he's a left winger, but look, I think I'm leaning towards Eze now because I just feel like he can play a variety of positions. Premier League proven. His goal record's actually better than Rodrigo's, would you believe it or not? Goal ratio anyway. So look, I would go with Eze. It's exciting times for Arsenal right now. But yeah, let me know in the comments, guys. Are we in the title race? Are Arsenal fans hypocrites when it comes to their own team and their own players and their own transfer business? And yeah, thanks for watching. Like I said, I've got 7 extra subscribers from the show with Terry on Street Facts podcast the other day. Appreciate it, guys. Trying to get to 200 likes, 200 subscribers. So if you can, just hit the like button, subscribe. Like I said, it will mean the world to us. And we'll be back with the podcast soon, me and Dan, and we'll delve into all the new signings and everything Arsenal and everything else that's going on. But yeah, thanks a lot for watching and speak with you guys soon.